I know you outed your alliance, but I knew you were holding someone back. I knew it, and now I know. And I didn't say anything else. She ran around the house freaking out. I told all of you that if someone had told that to me and said that I have this other thing going on and it was a lie, I would have laughed and said, fuck, this guy thinks that I'm way smarter than I am. She didn't do that. She ran around the house freaking out.
But at the same time, I can't remember Jen's point being valid, but it was a valid point, but kind of whatever. I don't know, but you'll know when I give you the example. You'll know when I give you the example. Jen said something, and I'm relating it kind of to that nature. Before y'all came out, and I was talking to Amber, Amber's like, you know, I spoke to Danielle. I said good morning. She didn't say anything, and Edie's not talking to me. And at that moment, she's like, I don't know what's going on, and she's freaking out. Wait a minute. So at that moment, she starts like tearing up. I'm like, Amber, don't stop.
I was right there.
Don't.
Let me tell you
now,
something
right
else.
after that, wait a minute. Right after that, that's when you came out there. So I'm not saying
when
that,
she came from her bed to the bathroom, I said, "Good morning, sunshine."
And I always say good morning to her and look at her, and she's honestly, I pointed out to him, and he noticed she won't even look at me in the eye. She won't even make any communication with me at all.
Trust me, Eric had a feeling. Eric had a feeling before today.
So you're saying guilt by association in the banner confirmed?
No. No, there's been so much going on with Amber and the whole thing with Nick, and she swore to Nick up and down, "You're my brother. I will never, ever, ever vote against you." And Eric convinced her, and she's been working with Eric for that whole thing.
But Danielle, have you ever made
Don't you think that she took that awfully
Nick,
well?
Like, no matter what, I'll have your back, I'll fight for you. Is that not the same?
Honestly, I didn't tell Nick
you
that.
Never told him that.
And Nick was the one who told me to go with the group and vote against him.
But he told her the same thing.
Well, yeah, but I didn't say that to him. And honestly, like, Amber was the one for the whole week before, trying to convince me of different scenarios and different things why I shouldn't trust Nick. But yet Nick's so much like a brother and everything. I'm just saying, Amber was the one who kept coming to me constantly, trying to convince me that I can't trust Nick.
And then she told me after the vote, "Didn't you see me looking at you?" Because I sat there and I talked to you, and I wanted to feel you guys out where you were, if you were on the fence, because I was totally on the fence with that. Sitting on the couches before we went in and talked to Julie and cast our vote, I was still going back and forth in my mind right then and there.
Wait a minute, I'm sorry. Catch me up. This last week's nomination?
Yeah, and voting Nick out.
Yes, okay.
I was back and forth the entire time.
Okay.
And a big thing that pushed me was because of the emotional involvement and attachment that Danielle had. And if there was a smallest percentage of a chance that she was being played, I couldn't let it happen. Right. That's what pushed me. Right. But still sitting on the couch, and I was told Amber this, I'm going back and forth, and she was like,
and I
wish you would have told me.
And I know that you realized that everything that he said to me, that he never lied to me after his speech. I know that you did, because the way that you looked at him and the way that you looked at me, you knew that he was telling the truth about everything. I know that you did.
And after that vote, I knew it was the wrong thing to do. I knew it was a stupid thing to do. Out of everyone in this house, Nick would have never put her up on the block and never voted against her. Out of everyone in this house, Nick would have never put me up and voted against me because of her. And we voted out a very strong ally because of the group.
Well, I want to interject. Hello, I wanted Zach out, and
I know you did, but who was the one who kept pushing Nick? And we went around this room and we asked personally and strategically who it would be.
Well, you know what? That doesn't even matter, because I'm
point
just blank, everybody did their own vote, and it was a group decision. So I won't even.
But just remember who was making the arguing points. Who was making the arguing points the week before? Who has done a lot of the arguing points in all of this.
Those are people he wanted out. Yeah, he's going to argue to get him out.
Of course.
You're arguing right now to get Eric out.
Because you want him out.
So next week, I can say, let's
do
get
you think
Dick
that
out.
I just pulled this out of the sky?
But it's...
No, honestly, seriously.
No,
Eric has made himself my ally from day 2. Why all of a sudden would I make this flip and be talking to Jen, of all people? Do you really think that this is some kind of a setup? That me and Jen have been working together from day 1, and we were planning to get Eric out with this master scheme all of a sudden in week 5, 6, whatever the hell we're in. And okay, let's do it now. First, let me throw your clothes all over the place. You smash some packs of my cigarettes. We'll make a big scene, and then we'll make a big love fest, make up, and then we'll make it like, oh, this isn't a big master scheme. She's saying the same things that I'm saying, same things that Danielle's saying, the same thing that every single one of you here knows. It's hard to admit to yourself because you like Eric. He's charismatic, he's funny, and he's good to be around. But the bottom line is he's been playing everyone in this house. And I know that he's gone around telling everyone in this house that as long as Kel and Jen are here and me and Danielle are there, everybody else is safe. Just let them bang each other's heads.
Okay, I'm going to go through it in my mind as I recall it happening. We were up here in the room. We went around the room, and everybody said who they wanted to go. And at that moment, Dustin says, now, I take that back. Amber and Danielle did not speak. At that moment, Dustin says, okay, I think it's official. Zach will be leaving. And you were like,
I said, everyone,
wait a minute.
Nick, strategically.
Because the consensus of the group was Nick strategically.
I thought I specifically heard the words, how did we get Zach when the majority said Nick?
Yeah.
So, but listen, at that point, that's when Eric then jumped in.
No,
I don't know if he would
Eric
have
was
otherwise.
before as well, and Eric had been working the Nick angle from day 2.
No, I'm not disputing that, ED. I'm just saying.
But that's one of the reasons why everyone was saying strategically Nick.
Mm-hmm.
Well, but also
including myself.
I know.
And
also,
trust me,
Nick was
out of
one of the
anyone
4
here,
targets.
I feel like the biggest fucking jackass in the entire place for letting that motherfucker and his whole thing of, me, the 80-pound weakling. Yeah, there was another thing too.
Not just that, Dustin, is he was one of the 4 targets, but why? Because he was thrown in there. He wasn't even aligned with any of them anymore.
I think that
he was
brought
in the
it.
beginning.
But the fact that he was in the beginning,
right.
maybe.
No, I'm
Yes.
saying week 1, right? But then he didn't, and he was on our side, and nobody believed it because of Eric. No matter what I said, nobody believed it.
But it wasn't just Eric that said that.
He didn't tell any of those people. And Nick told me when I was HOH, which was week 3, that he was with them.
I know, and he
Kale
told me
me
that.
when I was.
I'm just saying.
When
he
I was
told
in the
me
bedroom with
everything
Kale,
that he came
and
up
Kale
here and
outed
said.
everyone.
Yeah.
When I was HOH, and Kale outed everyone, and she threw you under the bus in the same conversation. She told me that how she ran that alliance was she would go to Mike. She had very little contact with Zach, and she had no contact with Nick. And it made her extremely uncomfortable because she felt like Nick was the wild card. Is that what she told you, the same thing?
Yeah.
Okay? So that's not bullshit.
You said Nick was the wild card.
She didn't.
I'm sorry.
of Nick.
I'm still processing. Can you say that quickly one more time? I'm sorry.
Kale never had any direct contact with Nick.
Okay.
She would go to Mike. Mike would go to Zach. Mike would go to Nick.
Okay.
And she hated the fact that she would never have contact with Nick.
And
she hated it.
And also the moment that Kale told Mike that she doesn't think she can trust Nick anymore because Nick and I started to become so close, that's when Nick's like, I'm done. If she says she can't trust me, I'm done.
With the whole thing.
Blah, blah. Yeah.
Okay, and that is like around.
Did he tell you at the beginning then that he was with them for?
Mm-hmm.
And you still slept in the same bed and didn't know?
No, honestly, she did not tell me.
Okay.
Nick was the first person to ever tell me.
Okay, so with that said, once he said, if Kale feels that way, then boom. Is that when he told you officially that he was in something? Was that the moment that he said, hey, this has been going on, or was it prior to that?
What do you mean,
that you kind of
after
knew? Did you know prior to him?
Well, to be completely honest, actually, I saw him walk down here after he walked